Alright, welcome back. This is part 2 of the Pablo Picasso finding your own personal style. So we were talking about Guernica and how that how that painting is one of Picasso's, if not his most famous painting. And it's as simple as it looks. His goal was to tap into his youthful self. He believed that the purest artists were children because they painted purely from emotion. So for the rest of his life, he planned to unlearn everything he knew about art. That was his philosophy. It worked out for him. It's impossible to kind of replicate what he did. However, I think Basquiat, you guys should know Jean-Michel Basquiat by now. Basquiat was able to do the same thing. So moving on. Your project is to look at different cultures. I'm going to give you a list of a few here. Okay, so right here you have Easter Island. They call them Moai sculptures, right? You guys know what this is? Anyone? Alright, if you guessed Indian, you're right. And more specifically, Pacific Northwest Indian. Pacific Northwest meaning from here, from Washington, from Canada, from Oregon. Basically, coastal Indians used to identify themselves with these totem poles. So at the top of the pole, you would see like a raven or a bear or a wolf, and that was your tribe. And so, depending on your relationship with other natives, you probably wouldn't get close to a bear tribe if you didn't get along with them. Here, I kind of screwed up here. I wanted to kind of show you that picture first. You have still Native American totem pole, Pacific Northwest, and you can see how this was originally used to design the Seahawk logo. It's gone through a few transformations, but that's where it comes from. Any guesses as to what culture this is from? If you guessed Aztec or Mayan, I think you are correct. I think this one is Aztec and this one's Mayan. I may be wrong about that. Alright, you have some African sculpture. Anyway, any guesses as to where this one's from? A lot of people think Asia. Some people think Africa. This is actually Olmeca. The Olmecs were before the Aztecs, a few hundred years before, and there is belief that these Toltecs or Olmecs came from Asia, and that's why they have some Asian characteristics on their face. This right here, speaking of Asian, this is Malaysian. From Malaysia, so they're talking the Pacific Islands. And here you can kind of see what we're getting at. So Picasso was influenced by African, right? You get to choose what you're going to be inspired by, so you have to know some cultures. I don't have a list of them here, but maybe I'll post them on the NHHS math.org website of some possibilities there. You get to kind of pick and choose what art you want to look at, and then from there you get to start influencing something you want to draw. So right here you have an artwork by Tom Mervick. You could see that it's kind of cubistic. You could easily say that, because Picasso was inspired by African, that this was inspired by African as well. Let me show you another one. Here you have artwork by Saner, which is an artist. Actually, no, sorry. This is from Jake Brendes. He's a Seattle artist who likes to mix cross-cultural references. And right here you have a Virgin Mary mixed with an Aztec woman. It's done very well. And this is Saner, is a graffiti artist from Mexico, El DF, and he actually his method is really cool. He sketches a bunch of Aztec and Olmec and Toltec and Incan and Mayan artwork, and then he puts it back all together kind of in his own way, and to create his own deities and myths and creatures, and so he kind of has fun with kind of creating his own religion and his own history almost, even though it's all referring to Mesoamerican history. He kind of does his own thing. Here he is again, mixing a little bit of Mickey Mouse into it. And here you have another artist sculpting some Aztec into a Batman costume. And here's basically what I want to see. So if you were, let me hide this. you were to paint me this for this project, I would see some obvious references that maybe not other people would see. What I want to see is you paint something like this after looking at something like this surfboard from the Pacific Islands, right? I can see that there's some swirls and some lines and shapes that just feel Pacific Islander, but aren't necessarily Pacific Islander. If you looked at Dia de los Muertos skulls, you could easily draw me something like this. This is more like tattoo art, but it has this feeling of Dia de los Muertos art. Does it have to look like Dia de los Muertos art? Absolutely not. So if you painted something like this woman painted this, I would automatically say, oh, okay, this artist must be thinking the way that artists from Australia did back in the day. This is called Aboriginal art. Or if you painted me something like this has some actual obvious African masks in it. But you could show me those inspirations in your painting. You don't have to hide them, but you can hide them. Here's one other example. This is definitely inspired by graffiti. But if you hadn't seen this bowl, let me put this in the front. Bring to front. There you go. Look at this shape. Look at this shape right here, and then look at this shape right here. Do you see a similarity? I do. As an artist, I am kind of aware of things like the Chauvet cave glyphs, and you might not. So as you search around and you find your artwork, and you look at it and say, hey, what could I do with this information? One thing you want to do is maybe sketch the original out. That teaches you how to draw and how to be inspired by something that's already existing. And then you get to draw your own thing. So like if you want to just start using browns and black lines to create something, guess what? That's an inspiration from this piece. Does it have to look exactly like a bowl? No. Does it have to even be a bowl or brown? No. All I want to see is you being inspired by that piece in one shape or another. So yeah, step A, find a primitive art form from another culture. You get to pick it. It could be something ancient. Try to avoid Egyptian, but you can pick African, you can pick Mexican, you can pick Aztec, you can pick Brazilian, you can pick Hindu, you can pick artwork from India or China or Japan or Russia. It doesn't matter. Just pick a country and look up their art. See what kind of artwork they do. But the goal is to find something that kind of feels emblematic, like it's a symbol of that culture. The next thing you do, whether it be the colors, the paint, or the patterns, the shapes, etc., the next thing you do is find a subject to draw. This is for you to draw. You get to pick whatever you want, whether it be your car, a dragon, a monkey, I don't care, whatever you want, an elephant. And then you get to combine the two. So somehow collaboratively mix the old ancient primitive culture with that one subject that you want to draw. By subject I mean any object, any thing that you would possibly want to draw. An added bonus or an easy way to simplify this activity for you is to use some Picasso or Basquiat references. So look at their artwork and say, hey, how can I incorporate their work into my work? But you guys don't have to keep it simple if you don't want to. And lastly, you want to finalize it with your choice of mediums. So you can paint it with acrylics or oil pastels or colored pencils or chalk pastels or clay or ink or Sharpie. Whatever it takes to make your piece look finished, that's what I want to see. I'll post some examples on the NHHS math.org website so you have some ideas of what we're looking for. But that's essentially the lesson. Don't spend too much time on this. This should be a 3 to 4 day project. In class period time, that's an hour and a half each, times 4, that's 6 hours per week. So you really just need about 6 hours to work on this. Anyways, thank you. I hope you find some luck finding some artwork, and I hope you don't have too many questions. You can always email me on this website or email me at smartinez@psd1.org. Okay, thank you.